Is it DeAndre Ayton who would be the number 1 overall pick right now? Late June, as we're sitting here, late April?
I think it's too soon. I think it's too soon to say. It's hard to know, and obviously the lottery might have something to do with it because different teams are. This is not a year that I can gather, at least a year where you have a consensus absolute number 1. People love Luka Doncic. Ayton's obviously a possibility. I think this may well be a draft where it just depends on the mindset and the evaluations of the front office that's drafting number 1, and the lottery's still a few weeks away.
And then obviously you don't have to have a lottery pick to have maybe the best player in a draft, and Utah is a perfect example of that, or at least a top lottery pick. I mean, what Donovan Mitchell is doing right now, fourth quarter point-scoring machine, and a kid that in the post-game conversation on Turner last night, he couldn't even get a word out because the crowd was screaming and yelling. I mean, what he has done in Utah has been nothing short of remarkable. How good do you think this Utah team is when they move on potentially past Oklahoma City into some deeper waters?
Well, that's obviously the ultimate question, and it's really, really interesting, Rich, that we've got more than one of these to consider because, these are the same questions we're having about Philly. This is a really fascinating year. We get used to the playoff pack in each conference kind of tends to be over a 2, 3 year, 4 year period, a little bit static, and then, if a team pops in, a team falls out. But if it's a young team, they're usually coming in as a 7th or 8th seed. They're usually getting smoked in the first round. And their baptism is to get in the playoffs and get their butts kicked and then say, you know what, we liked the experience or we benefited from that. We'll come back better next year knowing a little bit more what the postseason is about. This is different. We now have a team in the East with Philly that very well looks like it could get to the conference finals or deeper because the East is kind of wide open and a little goofy this year. And to your point about Utah and Donovan Mitchell, this was an elite defensive team for the last couple of years. That was their calling card. And then Gordon Hayward was the heart of their offense, and that's ripped from them when Gordon Hayward decides to leave for Boston, as was his right. There was no reason to think that this team could be back to this point this quickly. And Donovan Mitchell has been nothing less than spectacular. And for folks who are just seeing it in the playoffs, this is what he's been all season, really. He's been a great fourth-quarter guy. He's been a clutch guy. He is as steady as they come. You watch him play, you would never guess that he's a rookie at all. Not the way he carries himself, not in his decision-making. He's just so polished, so steady, so confident, and just a great all-around kid besides. How far can they go? I mean, listen, I don't think that at full strength the Rockets and Warriors are beatable by any team other than the Rockets and the Warriors. So it probably ends in the second round, as it will for, I think, every team that's not the Rockets and Warriors. But this will still go down as a breakthrough season for the Jazz, and great things yet to come because it's still a young team.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.